So when the final trailer of Attack on Titan came out, I was very mixed on the idea of AoE until I rewatched it a few more times where I questioned the placement of Eren and the see you later scene. It wasn't until I started working on the script during the live stream that I realized that the trailer does show us that an AoE can happen, and in this video I'm going to show you how at what certain point in the trailer AoE could happen and how we can branch off from that certain moment in the trailer. This is my longest video yet, and I've been rushing to do this video as quickly as possible because I am running on a time crunch because I had to write the script and then I have to edit it all before the final episode drop. It does mean a lot to me if you leave a like on the video because I'm trying to rush this out as soon as possible, losing some sleep in order to get this out for you guys. There is a chance that we might not even get the ending that we want. Even with all this evidence that I'm about to provide, there is that chance that we might not get the ending. But yeah, we're gonna go straight into the theory. In the first episode, we get a flash of future events of what will happen in the show. In the images that we see in the beginning of the anime will later be shown to be events in season 1, such as the scouts dying, Eren's mom getting picked up to be eaten right before Eren wakes up. And this isn't the only time that we see this happen in the show, but I'm gonna get back to that later. In the manga, we don't get to see this happen because of the limited amount of pages that Isayama had to work with, so we just had to infer of what happened when Eren woke up, because in the manga we see 145 instead of actually seeing memories. And the biggest difference between the anime and the manga, that which everyone pretty much knows, in the manga we see that Eren sees Mikasa saying see you later, which is from the cabin timeline of where he might be coming from if we're using the timeline theory. But in the anime, right after Eren wakes up, we cut to 2 crows flying off, which is a great contrast from where we left off in the manga, with a white wing to end off in the manga, and we start off with the blackbirds to start off the anime, which is also present in the song cover of Linked Horizon, the singer for the opening song. Remember how I said this isn't the first time that we saw a flash of future events happen? We have seen it get used in both the season 3 special ending and the special anime version of Akame no Ko. In the season 3 special ending, the outro plays as normal, then it glitches out to show us memories of Eren's father and the basement. But at this point in the show, we are at the point where Armin got burned and they still haven't made it to the basement. So what's the point of adding this? I don't know. But I'm just bringing it up to the theory because, like I said, this isn't the first time or the second time where we see future events happen in a quick flash like that. In the Akame no Ko special anime version, it shows us a flash of future sequences as well, right before Eren wakes up. I mentioned in the previous videos that the parody that we see in that outro is not the same parody that we see in the anime, because in the manga we see the aftermath of the bombing of the island, and then we see that nature eventually took over the ruins of the island with little kid Eren who turns into adult Eren sees. Adult Eren is there for 2 reasons in this special anime version. One is because the director has creative freedom on what he imagines for this song, as I said in my previous video, or he could be intentionally putting Eren in there knowing that he is looking to the future. In the anime, if Eren is able to look into the manga memories using timeline theory, he might not like what have happened in the manga timeline and will wish to change that, but Eren does forget about this when he wakes up in the anime. But when he kisses Historia's hand later in season 3, he probably remembers this, and there is a popular video titled What Eren Really Saw, and it shows the events of season 4 as rest of the manga, which wasn't animated at this point. If Eren does look into the future after kissing Historia's hand, it will make the throne room, it will make the metal scene more unsettling, because if we're using Akame no Ko, he is kneeling down in the same room where he knows that it's going to be destroyed and abandoned because of his failure for not going through with a full score rumbling. But how does the trailer lead to an AoE? In the final trailer, I converted the Japanese subtitles into English using Google's auto translate, which is bound to have mistranslations. When I looked up the English subtitles made by fans, this same message kept popping up. How can we be defeated, or can we be defeated? This is what happens when we push evil. For this to be popping up isn't a coincidence, because yes, if it was one time, but for this to pop up across different videos is saying something. And I looked and reread the last chapters of the manga and nothing like this pops up. And something else that caught my eye in the trailer was the shadow of the bird in the cabin timeline, because we all know in the cabin timeline that bird is Falco. And for anyone living in cities, we all know that when an airplane covers the sun, it leaves behind a giant shadow for a bit. And in the manga, we see a little bird, so without a doubt it is Falco, because he is the only big bird that we know of that's able to create a shadow that size. I don't know why Falco is doing in the cabin timeline, but his voice actor came out and said that Falco is one of the most important characters, and knowing that he remembers the final battle somehow when we first meet him says something about Falco, because this wasn't in the manga. It is only a anime exclusive scene. This theory can branch into two different ways. One reason to explain why Falco somehow knows about the final battle is that he could somehow eat a Titan Shifter who was in the final battle, so that gives him the ability to have two powers of Titans and be getting those memories from someone who was in the final battle. Or Eren could be sending memories to Falco as a catalyst for something, and I think I know what it might be. The rest of the trailer plays out normally like the rest of the manga up until a certain point, which is the Eren head part. And once again, this theory can go two ways. The first way is that they are just going to be copying the manga ending and the English subtitles were all on mistranslation, which I highly doubt, because for it to be coming across multiple videos is saying something, and this whole theory could be for nothing. That's just boring for this theory video, so I'm gonna just go with the second option. The way that the trailer is edited doesn't make sense to me, because yes, trailers are always edited out of order, but in my reaction video to the final trailer towards the end, I said that I don't understand why I decided to add the see you later towards the end when we clearly see Eren's head before that moment, and this is gonna be the second time it pops up in the anime. And if they do copy the manga ending, then the whole point of the see you later timeline is just gonna be him waking up again, recreating the cycle. So it's not gonna make any more sense of like, oh, he just woke up from the thing and the cycle just keeps repeating, and then eventually even the anime onis will figure this out and be like, oh, the cycle has to stop at some point, which is gonna be the ANR theory. And then later in the trailer we see Armin turning into his Titan and Mikasa rushing in, but I strongly believe that in the final battle, Eren remembers the dream that he had when we started off in the anime, and he knows what's going to happen, because at this point, we see Armin turning into his Colossal Titan form, and we see Mikasa rushing in. But if he does remember his dream, he will harden up his mouth in order to protect himself, and the explosion will look like it broke his mouth, but in reality, it didn't. Since Mikasa will be rushing in, it will be too late to turn around from the explosion, and for the anime to get an AoE, we don't need the lines to die. We just need Mikasa, since she was the final person to deal the final blow to Eren in the manga, explaining why she has the same posture as Louise in Under the Tree from the Thunder Spear fragments from the hardening. Most likely it's going to be causing her to fall to the ground, and while this is happening, Eren is focusing on blocking Armin's attack, and he will not notice her falling and will probably step on her by accident, explaining the rumbling intro with the Titan stepping on the butterfly, which Mikasa has been known to be associated with. But the only problem I noticed while writing this is how would the rumbling start up again? If Mikasa does die, we know that the worm isn't nearby Eren for him to reconnect, because we can see the shot of Jean and Connie breathing in the smoke, which means that Eren and the worm have a great distance between them. And I used to think that the Warhammer theory was possible for Eren to get out of the crystal like we see Laura Tiber do, but we know Eren transforms for a second time, so we know that this means that his body has to be on the battlefield in order to do this, so touching Historia is not possible to restart the rumbling. While I was doing a live stream for this theory, a viewer named Caroline B mentioned that there was a plot hole that no one noticed in the manga, which will play a big part in the anime if they don't forget about it as well. But then this wouldn't make any sense. But Carol pretty much said that how was Eren able to turn into a Colossal Titan form if he wasn't connected to the worm? And this got me and everyone in the chat confused and shocked, because she brought up a really good point. Because in the manga we know that the rumbling stopped because Zeke died. But what if Ymir makes a Titan? But if Ymir makes a Titans, why would she make this Titan for Eren? Ymir wanted to be free, which I mean, I guess in the manga, but Ymir wanted to be free, I guess, which was in the manga. But let's say for this theory, Eren promises her that she will have her freedom, which Historia gives birth to her child, and for Historia to name her child after Ymir is a way to honor her friend. And if we're going by this theory, then Ymir making Eren his Titan shows that she will help him achieve freedom, and this means that she will be free, unlike how in the manga she was free. So she no longer has to be in contact with royal blood, because she is her own free person now. She decided to give up on the king's love and started to live for herself and can continue the rumbling. But the only problem with this is that the worm is still around and we don't know enough about it, so we just have to wait and see when the episode drops. In the manga, we see what happens to Eren, what happens after. In the manga, we see what happens when Eren dies, with Armin giving his speech and Mikasa walking back to the islands somehow. But for AoE, that time spent explaining that, all that time spent explaining all that will be used for the aftermath with Eren and how he deals with Mikasa's death, like we see in the A&R music video. We know that Connie, Jean, Annie, and Gabby will turn into Titans because of the gas, but if the rumbling does continue, then this will explain the death of the Alliance, because Eren's not going to stop the rumbling just because his friends are on the ground, leaving only Falco and Levi the only survivors, explaining why Falco has memories of the final battle because he never died. Pieck does get on Falco, but she ends up transforming to stop the worm, so she would have gotten crushed if the rumbling continued. Link to Ryzen is coming back to make the final 2 songs for AOT, which is The Last Titan, which is the final intro, and To You 2,000 years or 20,000 years from now. The Last Titan could be symbolizing Eren, but then there's also Falco, who is a Titan shifter, but I doubt Falco will be the thing the song's talking about. But there are 2 Titan shifters, so we're just gonna have to wait and see because there's not enough information to go off of on this. And for the other song, To You 2,000 years, could be Ymir's freedom that she wanted. For the last song, To You 2,000 years, could be Ymir's freedom that she waited 2,000 years for. And for the 20,000, I don't know why it's included in the title, but it's another, we're gonna have to wait and see. So everything I mentioned in this theory matches up with the A&R theory, and if you're gonna, and I'm gonna be doing a watch party on November 3rd, 10 a.m. PST, so convert that to your time. And hit subscribe because you don't want to miss out, because I will be converting the stream into a video, and I had a lot of fun with you guys in the last stream, and shout out for the ones who stuck with me for the whole 3 hours. It wasn't until I started working on the script during the live stream that I realized that the trailer does show us that an AoE can happen, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how at what certain point in the trailer AoE could happen and how we can branch off from that certain moment in the trailer. But yeah, this is my longest video yet, and since this is my longest video yet, and I've been rushing to do this video as quickly as possible because I am running on a time crunch, because I had to write the script and then I had to edit it all before the final trailer, all before the final episode drops. So it does mean a lot to me if you leave a like on the video, because I'm trying to rush this out as soon as possible, losing some sleep in order to get this out for you guys. But yeah, we're gonna go straight into the theory.